Good evening, and welcome to the Lawrence City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 20th. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and in the City Council chamber and remotely. You can access us through Zoom. You may also access us through the Lawrence City Council Facebook page and the Lawrence City Council YouTube page. At this point, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Present. Present.
Present. Will you please join me in a moment of silence? Now, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we start with public participation, as you all know, councilors, the mayor is out for a couple of weeks. As council president, the council president per charter is not allowed to vote at the meetings, but is allowed to preside and conduct the meeting. So I will be recusing and will not be voting on any matter this evening. So that's a little bit of housekeeping. I do want to now start the public participation. With that, it's 2.5 minutes. At the 2-minute mark, the bell or whistle or something goes off, letting you know that you got 30 seconds left. Of course, address the chair and not any members of specifically the City Council. First person up is Mr. Mali.
Humayun Mali, 53 Chester Street. Good evening, honorable members. In this important election year, we the citizen demand of you and Honorable Mayor Brian DePena contract for Lawrence Police now. Lawrence Police Department, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Chief Roy Wask, has done an excellent job to protect our citizens. We the citizens are united in support of the Lawrence Police Union and Senior Officers Union. Million thanks to our DPW workers, the union. Our city is a beautiful city because of their hard work and excellent job. We the citizen respectfully request from this honorable council, please actively participate and involve and choosing in hiring the next superintendent for Lawrence Public School to have a strong relationship with our elected official. We support Lawrence teachers and their union. We are united to demand best contract for Lawrence Police now, with the best seasonal wishes for our wonderful Lawrence Police Union, firefighters, DPW, and Lawrence Teachers Union. Lawrence always strong, Lawrence always united. Contract for Lawrence Police now. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mr. Dick Russell.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Dick Russell. I reside at 34 Cross Street. I'd like to say a few words about agenda item 40922. It's a shame that there are appointments such as this that do not allow for public input into their selection. How many other people applied and how did their qualifications match up to this individual's, or did the good old boy network give him extra points for the who you know political syndrome? I have spent my entire work career as a land surveyor. I have lost count of the number of safety training classes that I've had to attend since June of '66. I have also had continued training on new methods as they came into general use in my industry. How much similar training has this individual had in keeping up with advances in the inspectional service field, a field that he has little or no knowledge about? Last Thursday evening, he bragged about being inspectional service director for the previous 84 days, that he has made sure all the license fees are paid for. Will you be acquiring a drone to go out and inspect for backyard swimming pools when the good weather arrives, or will you be sending out inspectors to hunt down unlicensed work being done on weekends? There is money in those fees. Final question regarding this individual's qualification. Does he have the various licenses that are compliant with MGL 143, Section 3? Remember, the voters elected you to represent their best interests, not the best interests of other politicians. If you, as councilors, vote for him and some disaster befalls a city that is attributable to the ISD, your fingerprints are on that disaster because of your vote for an unqualified individual. In closing, I would like to see someone appointed as opposed to someone anointed to this position that has acquired calluses on their hands and feet from doing the actual job as opposed to calluses on their backside from riding a chair behind a desk. Please think twice about your vote, as my fingerprints will be on my telephone tomorrow calling various state agencies to see if this individual is qualified under the above-mentioned MGL 143, Section 3 to hold this position. As always, thank you for the time. P.S. Due to high energy costs, I could not afford lumps of coal for everyone. I will be eagerly awaiting my only request from Santa, a book titled Politics for Dummies. Merry Christmas to all and to a better new year in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that ends public participation. The names, addresses, and the comments are now placed as part of the record. I will ask the clerk to please call the attendance for Councilor Reyes, Councilor Infante, and Councilor Senator-elect Payano.
Present. Present.
Thank you. And now we will start with the public hearings. The first public hearing this evening is document number 12721. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
Common Street, Lawrence, Mass. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021 and in accordance with the recently revised City Council Rule Number 2, this meeting will be hybrid, allowing participation both in person and remotely to accommodate any participant with health considerations that prevent them from participating in person. To receive access codes for remote participation, please contact the City Clerk at Eileen Burnell at cityoflawrence.com or 978-620-3230. The meeting may be viewed on Facebook and YouTube. The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence, to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph to Section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Greenwood Street, east side, from a point 195 feet south from the northeast corner of Lowell Street to a point 215 south from the northeast corner of Lowell Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Second.
Motion made by Councilor from District C, seconded by the Vice President. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Roll call vote, please.
I just can't see. Sorry. Councilor Infante.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Dela Cruz.
Present.
Councilor Levy. Council Vice President.
Yes.
Council President.
Recuse.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. The next document is document number 36922, removal and deletion of handicap parking. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice? And, before we do that, I'm looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the preamble for all the public
So
hearings.
moved.
Motion made by Counselor Infante, seconded by Counselor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice for document number 36922?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by deleting the following paragraph to Section 10.36.340 of the Muni Code, handicap parking, Myrtle Street North Side, a 20-foot area in front of 109-113 Myrtle Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Counselors? Motion made by Counselor Del Rosario, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 37122. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinance of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph to Section 10.3.6.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Hancock Street, north side, from a point 75 feet east of the northwest corner of School Street to a point 95 feet east from the northwest corner of School Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Counselors?
Motion to approve and waive the 30 days?
Motion made by the counselor in District D, seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next document is document number 37222. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice?
Purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph to Section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Cross Street, north side, from a point 216 feet east of the northeast corner of Manchester Street to a point 236 feet east of the northeast corner of Manchester Street. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Counselors?
Motion to approve and waive the 30 days?
Motion made by the Vice President-elect, Representative-elect, seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Which one do you like? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document number 38222. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following new paragraph to Section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicap parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order. Foster Street, west side, from a point 72 feet south of the northwest corner of Farnham Street to a point 92 feet south of the northwest corner of Farnham Street. To the extent that there exists any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Counselors?
Motion to approve?
Motion's been made by the Vice President. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The next document is document number 38322. Clerk, will you please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following subparagraph to Section 2.44 of the Municipal Code, Other Officers and Employees. The salary of the City Council shall be $25,000 per annum as of January 1, 2024. The salary of the City Council President shall be $27,500 per annum as of January 1, 2024. To the extent that there exist any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion made by the Vice President, seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No? The ayes have it. Document number 38422. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice?
The purpose of said hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence by further amending by deleting subparagraph to Section 2.12.010 of the Municipal Code, salary of the mayor. The salary of the mayor shall be $100,000 per annum as of January 1, 2006, and adding the following subparagraph to Section 2.12.010 of the Municipal Code, salary of the mayor. The salary of the mayor shall be $150,000 per annum as of January 1, 2026. To the extent that there exists any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
The public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors?
Motion to approve?
Motion by the Vice President has been made. It's been seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Councilor Rodriguez?
I have a question, Council President.
Councilor Rodriguez has the floor, and then I'll look to you, Councilor De La Cruz. Councilor Rodriguez?
Thank you, Council President, through you. I just want to clarify something in terms of the salary and that and what the charter of the city established, that this salary will take effect on January 1st, 2026. So it is important to recognize that this will not benefit the current mayor.
Good. Any other questions or comments on this matter? Councilor De La Cruz?
Yes, I have a question for Ms. Lagrica.
Hi, good evening, councilors.
Yes, good evening. Based on what qualification do the salary for the mayor will be in 226, $150,000? Based on what?
So you'll see attached to the packet for submission, there was a study done by the Collins Center for Beverly, and we used that to form the basis for our recommendation.
But I would like you to highlight the qualification. Yeah, what will? Based on what? $150,000. What kind of step are you using for the mayor?
So attached to the submission, the Collins Center did a study for the city of Beverly, which did a comparative analysis of various towns and cities, what they pay, and that's what the basis was for our recommendation.
Doesn't need to qualify, to have any qualification that we have to be looking upon.
So the qualifications for the mayor are different. The basis for our salary recommendation is a study that was done.
Okay. My question is still not answered. because if the salary of the mayor at this point is $110,000, and in 2 years, 3 years, the salary is going to be $150,000. I understand that you're having a comparison between all the cities, but at the same time, we have to care about our budget. How are we going to pay the mayor? Where are we going to get that amount of money? Remember that I think it's very high according to our salary, our income coming to the city. Okay? Thank you.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Thank you through you, Mr. Council President. Just a clarification, to become a mayor, you don't need any qualification. You just get elected. We just name a salary for the mayor. So there's no description of what you need to have, education or level of education to earn $150,000. You just need to get elected. Thank you.
Any other members of the council wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, there's a motion before the floor. I'll call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No?
Present.
Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Levy. Yes. Counselor Dela Cruz.
Present.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Infante.
Yes.
Vice President Reyes.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Recused. Motion
Oh.
passes. Is there anybody from the mayor's office here to speak on document number 43122? Bad, I'll just start that again. Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice for document 38522?
The purpose of this hearing is to gather testimony, information, and public input concerning the proposed amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Lawrence to be further amended by adding the following paragraphs to Section 10.36.340 of the Municipal Code, handicapped parking, to be inserted in the proper alphabetical order, North Boylston Street, east side, from a point 490 feet north of the northeast corner of Mann Street to a point 510 feet north of the northeast corner of Mann Street. To the extent that there exists any ordinances to the contrary, they are hereby repealed in that respect only. Persons wishing to be heard shall be afforded the opportunity.
Public hearing is now open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Councilors? Motion approved. Motion made by...
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Payano, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Councilor Rodriguez?
Just through the applicant, Councilor Payano, did you get to have the copy of the handicap placard? Did you get the copy of the placard for the applicant? We don't have it on the package.
If there's no further questions or on this matter, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, communications from mayor, city officials, and city attorney. We have a document number 43122, a presentation regarding the parking facility feasibility study. Is there anybody from the mayor's office to speak on that matter?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. My name is Benny Bear. I'm an architect with a business address at 2001 Beacon Street in Boston, Suite.
Mr. Bear, if you wouldn't mind, if you just speak a little bit louder, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's Mr. Bear, right?
Bear, B-E-R.
Good, and what's the name of the organization again that you work for?
I have an architectural practice. I'm doing business under Nekuda. That's the name of my practice. And with your permission, I'll just make a.
Council President, just to make you aware that for the speaker, I'm having trouble hearing you. So I'm not sure if it's the mic, but if you could make sure you speak to the mic and enunciate the words a little less in the back.
Certainly, I'll do that. Okay. Can you hear me? I see that the projection is working. Again, I'll introduce myself again. My name is Benny Bear. I'm an architect with a business address at 2001 Beacon Street, Suite 211 in Boston. We've been engaged by the mayor's office to prepare a feasibility study for for a number of underutilized properties in the city of Florence with a major purpose of developing more parking. The goals of our study: first, to identify opportunities for development of parking facilities with or without other uses that enhance future city development without prejudicing future opportunities. To increase the number of parking spaces in the city, in the city center, finding the sweet spot between needs, costs, and benefits. To reduce parking footprint and intensify parking land use by stacking parking levels and reducing parking sprawl. To improve mobility and quality of life in Lawrence City Center through design. To relieve parking demand in the downtown area around Essex Street with the objective of promoting economic activity and residential development, capitalizing on the cultural richness of Lawrence. And to improve land use of underutilized properties. Also to increase employment opportunities, I'll touch on that in a minute, for residents of the city of Lawrence, specifically by redevelopment of the former Cardiff Street Tamburello site to provide local employment opportunities, including a potential technology manufacturing plant. A study looked at the layout of the city of Florence, the centers of gravity, gateways, entering the city from outside of the interstate highway, from the north, from Methuen, and from the south across the river. And we identified connections between certain areas in the city. These are the sites that we have studied. I'll go one by one in a minute. One of the urban design considerations is we understand that a quarter-mile walking radius is a reasonable walking radius for people to walk from their car to the destination and back, so we're trying to develop sufficient coverage for that in terms of parking. We have worked with Dan McCarthy and the staff of the planning department to identify the types of users that are using these facilities. First are downtown residents. They live around here and they do need access to their cars to enter and exit parking facilities 24/7. There are suburban residents seeking services at City Hall, public library, and courthouses. There are daytime patrons of downtown businesses. There are evening patrons of downtown businesses. There are visitors and tourists from the outside. there are City Hall employees. The first property we looked at is right next door, 234 Common Street. It's currently a surface parking lot accommodating roughly 40 spaces on it on the surface. The lot is, in our estimation, too small to provide for multi-level self-parking facility because of the length of ramp and the turning radii required and the circulation. So for this site, we are proposing a car lift solution, stacked parking spaces that does require the facility to be attended during hours of operation. There's really no specific requirement to provide accessible parking spaces because it's not self-parking, it's managed parking, so the attendant would take care of parking the vehicle of a person with accessibility needs. So theoretically, any parking space in that facility would be. And there's a potential for rooftop usable space and roof deck on this structure. Here you can see an aerial view of what we're proposing. This facility accommodates 96 cars. That's 24 quad lifts. And this is a view from the street of this facility. We looked at another similar property at 209 Essex Street.
Council President, can you just go back one slide? You showed an image, but you showed it really quick.
Hold on.
Also, some of the council is saying that they're unable to hear you. Yeah, you can just pause it just for a second.
I'm sorry?
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
No, so I was just gonna say that some of the council is saying that they can't hear you, so if you can just make sure.
I'll do my best, yes. Thank you. Would you like to? I'm sorry?
So what are the images?
On the left, it's a key plan of the city center showing where this particular facility is located relative to an aerial view, a map. On the upper right is an aerial view of the proposed facility. There are 24 quad car lifts here, so it's 24 times 4, 96 cars can be parked here in a stacked formation. Like I said, it requires an attendant to operate these the car lifts, and on the lower right you can see the view from the street, from Common Street, of this proposed facility. You can see City Hall in the background, and you see the in and out driveways into this facility. May I go? The next property we looked at is similar in size. It's located at 209 Essex Street. It's also a surface parking lot currently. It's a little smaller. It's right behind the courthouse. Here we can accommodate 88 cars in a quad lift configuration. The same applies here for accessible parking spaces. They don't need to be designated because it's a attended, managed situation. Here is a view of what that would look like from Essex Street. For this particular lot, we also studied another option. It actually came earlier in the study, and we kept it and included it. Instead of developing parking here, is to develop an office building here. What we're showing here is a 4-story office building. It's a little more than 35,000 square feet. part of this study is a very rough estimate of probable construction cost. We think this would be $10,312,000, and we're showing here the configuration show either a full floor tenant, 2 tenants per floor, 4 tenants per floor, and the street level would be either retail or restaurant use, and it can be subdivided as well. So these are 2 options for the same site that we studied. Essex Street may be somewhat challenging for a parking facility because it's a 2-way street, and during rush hour, the queuing in and out may cause some congestion on the street, which may not be desirable for business activity on the street. The next property we looked at was at 422 Common Street. It's across the street from NECC and from the USPS facility on Common Street. For here also we looked at 2 options. Option A is all parking, including ground level, and this one accommodates 319 standard spaces and 8 accessible spaces. This is a self-parking facility with a probable construction cost of $16 million. And we also looked at an option B, which places commercial or retail use at ground level. To do that, we actually raise the second floor higher than in a parking configuration, so that the ceiling heights are more appropriate for commercial and retail use. And these are 2 views of this. The construction cost is similar. The number of standard parking spaces drops to 216 because of the loss of parking at the at street level, and also in the basement, because the commercial use restricts ramping down to the basement. 109, 139 Common Street is right up Common Street from there. It's behind the Episcopal Church, across the street from Tripoli Bakery. It's a similar size site, maybe a slightly larger site. Again, we looked at 2 options. Option A with parking only, and a similar construction cost because of the similar size, $16 million. And option B reduces the number of parking considerably to 164 standard plus 8 accessible, but again places roughly 16,500 square feet of commercial or restaurant space on the street. 171 Methuen Street. Again, this is a similar situation. All of these properties on Common Street and Methuen Street are relatively shallow. The depth from the street to the back is challenging, and it creates a less than optimal efficiency for the parking, because we can't really do a ramp in the middle with parking ramp and double loaded parking stalls. So the numbers are challenging on these lots, and there are 165 standard spaces, 6 accessible. Up the street from there, 261, 293 Methuen Street, Similarly, we have option A and option B. A is parking only, option B is with the commercial retail restaurant space. I'm not going to go through all the numbers just in the sake of keeping the pace here. It's all in there, including the cost per parking space. Now, these costs are very crude. This is just a feasibility study level design. It's not developed to the point where construction entity can price it accurately, but these are guideline numbers for costs to get the sense. We understand that developing structured parking facilities is very challenging financially and is a big deal. Another one on Methuen Street is 245 to 51 Methuen Street is further east. Same challenge with the dimensions of the lot and the efficiency of the parking situation. 70 Canal Street. Yes, 70 Canal Street is the site of the COVID testing tent. This is a different situation because it's a very large site. So here the lot doesn't present us with constraints on really where the street lines are, and there's a lot more flexibility here, and here we can actually optimize for efficiency and for number. I'll talk in a minute about the development on Cardiff Street, the Tamburello site. The vision is that this site will serve as a satellite parking for the Tamburello site because of traffic considerations and the proximity to school and congestion. So the vision is that if there's a large employment number on Cardiff Street, there'd be a shuttle from here to there. It's about 1.5 miles. Again, we studied option A with nothing but parking, and we maximized the parking at 522 plus 9 accessible. And option B does include a retail commercial space at grade. I'll also point out that the site at 70 Canal Street is so large that in terms of the site, 2 of these can be comfortably accommodated on the site. Now, the cost to construct each one of these is north of $24 million. And here you can see how 2 facilities would sit on the site of 70 Canal Street. And you can appreciate the relative proximity from there to downtown, to where we are right now. It's a relatively short walk from there. 50 Broadway Street is a site that's currently occupied by a McDonald's restaurant. Here, again, the shape of the lot is more conducive to better efficiency, larger number of cars, of parking spaces. This is close in numbers to what can be achieved on Canal Street. The additional advantage here is that Broadway Street is a high traffic street, so this may be more appropriate for some commercial retail development at street level. Let me point out that just going back to the Canal Street proposal, the area available for commercial street there at grade, if that's the direction, is about 30,000 square feet, which is large enough to have a small big box store like a Target or Walmart, a small one, not one of the big ones. But also, it could accommodate a small supermarket like a Trader Joe's in that location. We also looked at 246, 250 Canal Street. This is a building that's underutilized. We spoke to the private owners and managers of it. They actually commissioned on their end, prior to this study, they commissioned the study to convert that facility, or at least partially, to parking. We did not develop it to hard numbers, but this is an iconic building. It's located right on a canal. It has high potential. We looked at either converting the entire building to parking. The floor-to-floor heights are actually they're higher than parking would require. But what that means is that it would require longer ramps from floor to floor. But also there's an opportunity to develop some active canal waterfront commercial hospitality spaces. We think there's a great potential here. Then we looked at the Cardiff Street. Here you can see the location of Cardiff Street relative to city center. Cardiff Street has some contamination issues with it. There's been some remediation work taken there. There needs to be more. We have talked to consultants that have worked on that site that identified the contamination. We have developed an approach to dealing with it that is least painful financially, and it's in our report. I brought one printed copy of the report here with me. I can leave it with you. This is a site plan of the Cardiff Street proposal. There are 5 proposed building pads. There's a technology incubator, number 1. There's a food processing plant there, number 2, roughly 28,750 square feet. There's a transportation business there. We think that because there's no parking proposed on this site, that there would need to be some transportation, some shuttle from here to the Canal Street site or other remote satellite parking areas. Number 4 is another light commercial manufacturing, and then pad number 5 is a large, potentially 4-story or more microprocessor manufacturing plant. In terms of design considerations for parking structures, we understand that they are expensive. They're big buildings. They are they're not cheap. In terms of structural systems, we focused on precast and or pre-stressed concrete. It has a number of advantages. It can provide long spans so that it helps maneuverability of vehicles. A lot of the work is being done off-site, so it shortens construction schedule. It has inherent fire safety. It has aesthetic variety. We can develop different types of looks with it. And when designed and constructed properly, it has lower maintenance. We have some technical information about our dimensional assumptions about floor-to-floor height for parking, and the top decks of the parking will be, we envision them covered with some roofing and solar panels to prevent ponding and icing on the top deck. And we looked at sustainability. If you looked at all these views that we had of the buildings, we're looking at durable construction, like I said, the precast, pre-stressed concrete. All of these have solar panels on them. And solar panels, beyond just generating electricity, have other advantages. They shade what's below them, so the temperature of the structure is lower, so it radiates less heat back into the city, reducing urban heat island effect. And it prolongs the life of the structure itself, because what's damaging to structure is ultraviolet radiation. These buildings are large. We'll have to deal with what to do with stormwater when it occurs, and part of our plan is to have rainwater harvesting for these buildings to lower runoff and street flooding. And there are green walls. They all have vegetation on them. And these green walls can also have some synergy with the rainwater harvesting, so they can even be used for vertical urban farming. Electric vehicle charging can also be in combination with the solar panels. And intermodal connectivity, some of them have proximity to other types of transportation, bus lines, commuter rail, rental bicycles. And this is a tabulation of all of the projects that we looked at. Now, we understand that this is a feasibility study. We don't imagine that all of them will be built. We don't know that any of them will be built. But what we're showing here is that there's a potential for up to 2,700 parking spaces. And then up to 150,000 square feet of commercial space. We don't know that it's needed. We did not do any market study, so we're just showing possibilities and opportunities. And combined, all of these, when we take our admittedly crude probable cost estimate, they represent about $150 million of construction. What you see on the very right is the construction cost per parking spaces. You see that when we add the commercial component to the ground level, then the number of parking spaces drops, and therefore the cost per parking space shoots up. But you also see that the least costly parking spaces are in the large facilities, the two at the bottom, 70 Canal Street and 50 Broadway, simply because of the economy of scales, the large number of parking spaces there, and the efficiency of the layout afforded by the shape of the lot. I'll be happy to answer questions.
If you hit the lights, that'd be a good start. So this is just as a bit of a understanding, this is a presentation. There's no action tonight by the council. I think the mayor's office just wanted to make sure we are aware that these are things that they're looking at so that we are informed of some possibilities that they're looking to at least pursue or examine or consider. So we certainly could ask some questions. I know I've got a few questions, but does anybody have any questions that are striking that you want to? I'm sure we can stay here all night with questions, but we'll start with Mr. Rodriguez first.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few questions. On the feasibility study, did you guys take into consideration the possibility of the revenue back that the city is going to have for any of those projects?
We discussed that, but we did not run into hard numbers as to, what the parking rates would have to be to defray the cost of construction. Some of these sites are not owned by the city, so the vision, the mayor's office vision, is that there will be some kind of public-private partnership here. So we don't really know who's going to bring what to the table, so it's hard to do that. But there is discussion in the report. We, like I said, our office is in Boston. We come here from Boston, and we know that there's a parking issue because when we come, we need to park. So we also have talked to neighborhood businesses and developers that run into off-street parking for residential development. And we know that there's a constant complaint about uneven enforcement of on-street parking. I can tell you, in my opinion, it's not in a report, to make structured parking financially feasible, you need to price the curb competitively. If you give me as parking user incentive to park on the street long time and not pay what I would pay in a garage, I know what I'm going to do. You don't need the full brain for it. So I think that enforcement is a major component of parking.
Well, the reason that I'm asking is because, I mean, if we're going to do any type of project, we need to know if it's going to be feasible. It's a feasibility study.
I know that the staff of the mayor's office is planning to have some discussions with potential investors, private investors, and they've asked us to be part of it. So this is we're thinking about that. We don't know enough about the finances until we get into deeper discussions about it.
Another thing that I would like to ask, in terms of the feasibility study, I mean, how feasible it is for the city to have valet parking?
To have what?
Valet parking, because I mean, you mentioned that on the presentation. Is that something that you guys look into it for real?
Well, I know that when I come to the next door facility at 234 Common and I park there, there's a guy there. Now, what? There's an attendant. It may be that the term valet is a little misleading here because these car lifts, I don't know whether you've seen them, I don't know whether you've used them. There's a lot of them in New York City. Obviously, they get implemented in places where land values are high. But the operation, if you came first in the morning and they lifted you to the 4th level and now there are 3 cars below you and now you have to go to lunch or whatever, the attendant has to grab the keys of the 3 cars that are below you, drive one, lower, drive the other one, lower, drive the other one, and then you get your car. So this is not a solution that's appropriate for a quick turnaround parking facilities. But if this lot at 234 or at 209 Essex, if it serves mainly employees whose in and out pattern is predictable, they come in at 8:30 a.m. and they leave at 5 p.m., then there's fewer of these up and downs and in and outs.
My last question, so I'm gonna leave the council to ask any other questions. When you guys did the feasibility study, did you guys spend some time in the city, like looking at the parking issues, parking situations,
We did.
and the parking queue for any related delayed around? Because you mentioned it, but I mean, I feel like was a lot things left.
Well, the purpose of this study is to identify opportunities. We're not saying that the need exists for all 27 or 1,500 parking spaces. We don't know that. The mayor's office came to us and presented underutilized properties and a parking demand problem. So we did not, we engaged the planning department, like I said, Dan McCarthy, to understand exactly what already exists in the city. There's no clear inventory of what exists. To us, coming from Boston, it looks like there's a lot of parking already in existence in Lawrence. But the fact is that everyone complains about not enough parking. So we're not here to tell you that you have too much parking. We're here to tell you, if you need more parking, this is what you have to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Council President. You just mentioned that you guys conducted your situational analysis to identify the opportunities. Throughout your analysis, did you come across any threats or challenges that may come down the line as we're looking at opportunities to expand or fix our parking situation?
If I understand the question correctly, I think what we see when we come to Lawrence, when we look at Lawrence and we spend time here, we see particularly Essex Street as the backbone of downtown in terms of commercial activity, restaurants, things like that. So we know that business owners on Essex Street want both their customers and their employees to have reasonable places, safe places to park that to facilitate this business and cultural activity. Beyond that, we see Methuen Street as more underutilized than Common Street, say. So if we can start by putting more parking on Methuen Street, we can create more life there and more traffic from that side to Essex Street. And if that works, maybe the case for commercial restaurant, retail space at street level exists for Methuen Street too. We're not arguing for it, we're not advocating for it, because we know that right now we're trying to focus all the heat of the commercial activity on Essex Street. This is what we want to protect.
Thank you. One more question through you, Council President. This is a question for our CAFO. I see Mr. Agnello is here.
I'm sorry? No? Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. According to the presentation, I believe the overall cost you said was 150 million, the overall cost. Where, if we were to pursue these individual or this project overall in the future, where would the finance come out of?
I think he mentioned there's a public-private partnership arrangement, because none of these amounts have been discussed. I haven't reviewed any of them, so it's something we'd have to work on over the years.
And my last question, follow-up to that, the public and private partnership, is this going to be a partnership for every single individual location, or is it just, they mentioned a few I think it was just one, I'm not 100%, I don't 100% remember, but there's a property that is privately owned. Is it just for privately owned properties, or we're looking at the project overall?
Well,
for
if
that
it's a
part?
private property, we'd have to, if we would have to take it by eminent domain or work with the private party to help them develop that parcel. So I'm not sure. I think these are just, they've had a lot of discussions, and these are some feasibility studies to give the city some ideas, what can we do about parking, but I don't think it's gone to that next level of really analyzing each project. They're just projects on a piece of paper at this point, and they'll be developed over time.
Great. Councilor Dela Cruz?
Thank you, Council President. If you will recommend then the 3 most needed parking spaces, which one would you pick?
I would pick,
Thinking about SS3 being so congested, what are the 3 closest to SS3 that will help alleviate the parking situation on SS3?
I would pick one on Common Street, probably 422 down by the post office, by the USPS, and Canal Street, because it's, if you looked at the map, it's close to Essex Street. It's a relatively short walk. It's near the end of Essex Street and at Union, and that development is has a potential of providing a large number of parking spaces.
About the one on Methuen Street?
Methuen Street is a little more challenging, but of the 3 on Methuen Street, I would select the one that's furthest east on Methuen. It's I think 461, 469. I forget the number. I'll tell you. I'm sorry, it's 245, 251. 245, 251 Methuen.
Councilor Beato?
Thank you. I have to wait until the council president gives me the time.
I understand.
Sir, I think for the presentation, it sounds like this is just kind of like a, sort of like a trailer of what's possible. I think what would be helpful as we continue the conversation to have a better understanding of where the needs are. So that way we could, at least in our mind, we can sort of start thinking about where this actually will be. So for example, there was one possibility of 400 parking spots at some point on Broadway Street that probably is not where we were going to be concentrating in. So it'd be great. I think there was a lot of possibility, but sometimes when you're inundated with choices, it makes it a whole lot more difficult to make decisions and to lead. So as you guys are thinking through sort of what the next steps are and engaging with the council, I think that should be one of the things that is taken into account.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I'll leave it there, but I think it's clear that both on the downtown and even areas of Broadway that are growing, where we are increasing the number enough parking even for the councilors to attend their meetings. So this is obviously an issue, and I'm glad that we are moving forward with this, but as we move forward, we should make sure that we're doing it in a way that we are thinking strategically about it, especially if we're thinking about creating partnerships in the private sector. I think I'm still a little traumatized by the partnership that we sort of have with Museum Square, and that was 30+ years ago that we entered in. I know lots of lessons learned, and we're not going to do those same mistakes, but I'm glad that we're sort of moving forward.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. If I could just ask you, I think some counselors would like to get a copy of the presentation. So if you wouldn't mind either sending it to all of us or sending it to me and I can disperse it, I would appreciate that.
I will post it on our website and I'll send you a link to it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Council President?
One more thing, Council.
Oh, no questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready to move on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Council President?
Can I?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to take a few, oh, no, sir, we're all set. Thank you very much. Council President, I'd like to take item 415-22 out of order.
So move.
There's a motion by Councilor Payano to take document 415 out of order. It's been made, it's been seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Councilor Payano, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. Council President, the Personnel Committee met and we voted unanimously to send item 415-22, the confirmation of William Hale, Water Commissioner, to the full council with a favorable recommendation, and I present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Payano, seconded by Council Vice President. Discussion? Councilor De La Cruz?
Ms. Gina, Mr. Legreca? Do you have a lot of people applying for this job, or we
No.
didn't?
We did not. This is the only applicant for the position.
What is the step salary?
I have the job posting with me. Let me review it. This job was posted as grade B, which is 100,100 to 145,600 annually.
According to the qualification, the step is going to be higher than 9, right?
I'm sorry?
The salary step is going to go higher than,
No, this is the new salary.
oh, the new salary, okay.
You're welcome.
Any other councilors who wish to speak? Seeing none. Councilor Rodriguez?
Questions?
Good evening, councilors.
Mr. Hale, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I would like you to just be, instead of me asking questions, I would like you to just say, you know, for how long you've been there, your experience, your qualifications, and so far, so on.
Sure. So my name is William Hale. I've been with the department since 2004. I've done multiple different positions within the department, including started off in the construction crew for about 3 years of my career. During that time, I was involved with the floods of 2006. That was the 100-year flood. We were pumping out the Arlington District 24/7. That was one of the major things I was involved with at that time. After that time, I had moved up to be a water meter inspector. I was out of City Hall for a few years, just, you know, getting reads, doing final billing, and everything with that. I was working to get my backflow inspector license and cross-connection surveyors. So I acquired that sometime around 2006, and I had started doing the backflows. So I did that position for about 3 to 4 years as well. During those times, I was studying and getting the distribution licenses as well as the treatment. So I was able to acquire the treatment grade 4 and the distribution grade 4 licenses. After that point, once I was licensed as a distribution grade 4 operator, I had an opportunity come up that they needed a primary operator for a different city. I took the opportunity to better myself and learned a lot during that time. I was gone for about 20 months. At that time, there was a posting 20 months later for the position of water and sewer construction supervisor. So I applied for that position with the qualifications that I had. I was offered the job, which I gladly accepted because I loved working for Lawrence for 11 years before I left. So I did that position for 5 years. I was involved with the Columbia Gas emergency during that time, coordinating shutoffs, doing markouts, and helping any way that we could. So recently, I was appointed to be the acting water and sewer commissioner in July of this year, and we've accomplished a lot in a small period of time. I believe we were able to set the water rates. We've made some changes within the department to make it run more efficiently, and we've also, stopped some of the contract work and brought in a lot of our own team players within the department to take care of those jobs that we need to be done.
I can see that you're very young. You start early in the city in 2004. So for how long you've been in the city?
So if I exclude the 20 months, it would be 16 and a half years.
So you have 2 jobs in your life, right?
I was a plumber at the start for a local company.
So you mentioned something interesting, which caught my attention, which is the distribution grade 4 license. Can you tell me more about that specific license? What you can do with that license here in the city of Lawrence in case we need to?
Yeah, so basically the DEP mandates that the cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth have the proper licenses based on their system. It's based like on population and size of the system. So Lawrence is one of the highest populated with the biggest water distribution system, 146 miles. So they require a grade 4 license, and that gives you're in direct responsible charge of the water distribution system in the entirety of it.
So with that license, you are capable and certified to run the water treatment plant for the city of Lawrence.
So that distribution is anything outside the treatment plant, the mains, the tanks, fire hydrants, things like that. The treatment, I do have a grade 4 in training, so I am familiar with the treatment, but we don't work in the plant, so.
Another thing that I would like to talk about is that every time that I have the opportunity to talk about it, it's something that I mentioned before once you were here. I have nothing to do necessarily with that specific topic that we talked before, but now that you are applying for this position, you're going to be in direct in charge of the department. So lately we've been talking about, the customer service and the quality of the customer service that your departments might have in relationship to the clients, the people that we represent. So what is your goals in terms of improving the quality of service for the department?
So there's definitely a little bit of reorganization that I want to do within the department. So for instance, the water meters, the water meter readers are up at City Hall, and a lot of the work that we do is out in the field alongside of the water construction and the water meter installer on the construction side of things. So I want to bring them together as a team so they can, address the MTU issues with the reads, and as well as then have the guy there to install the meters.
I'm talking about more like the direct contact that the people have with the office here at City Hall.
Yeah, so then one of the things I'm going to do is, July 1st next fiscal year, I want to move a clerk down to Water Street and reopen that for business, because that's been closed for about 7 years. And we have a desk down there, we need record keeping and things like that. And so when the contractors or residents have a question and they need to do like a new service or they have an issue, they can go directly to Water Street instead of coming to City Hall where the clerks are that are doing the billing. So if it's not a billing issue, I will have it separated so they know where to go. And you can find a lot more information about construction on Water Street than you can at City Hall. And they were able to talk directly with the foreman and directly with the supervisors down there. And then we can focus on, you know, answering phones and helping people with billing at City Hall.
Other mentioning answering phones, is that something in your pipelines in terms of ensuring they pick up the phones?
Yes, I mean, I talk to them about it at least once a week. So I think we've had like definitely an increase of answering the phones. It's just during billing seasons with 3 clerks, it's kind of tough. There's a lot of people that are in and out with sicknesses and things like that. So we're trying the best we can, but I definitely have, you know, we talk about it every Friday and we try to, you know, encourage them to do better.
There is, other than coming to City Hall and getting your rate or how much you owe to the city in terms of water and sewer, what other ways you can use an easy way, because you can put your bills and bill number and stuff like that to get your actual bill if you do it online. There is an easy way, or can you think about an easy way to be able to implement that system in terms of getting the actual amount of money that you want to the city in terms of water and sewer, other than just using the bill number and the address?
I'm not sure what you mean with that question, so we just...
Because essentially a lot of the people, when they come to City Hall, to actually get the amount of money that they owe to pay. That's a lot of the customers, while they look. And for you to get online, it's a little bit of challenge for you to get online because of the requirements. And the fact that you actually send the bill every 3 months, most of the people lose that bill, that piece of paper, so they need to get in touch with the people in City Hall. So essentially, I'm thinking like, you know, probably you can think for the future to have a better, most effective system that allow people to get water amount of money that they owe to the environments in another way. So you can have less people walking in to the city office.
Yeah, we'll definitely be looking into different things. I have Rayburn Solutions is coming in January to do the meter audit. And then, you know, we're working with Munis. I worked with them 2 weeks ago about making a new bill template. And then we can look into how we can get the bill out to people if there's online accounts and things like that.
2 more things that I would like to bring to your attention. When it comes to the estimated bills that we have in the city of Lawrence, you have, like you mentioned at some point, that you have close to 200 estimated bills.
Yes.
In the city. Are you planning on reducing those to the minimum? And the reason that I'm asking is because a lot of people, when they get the bill and it's an estimated bill, they don't realize that it's an estimation. It could be more or it could be less. But when you guys send the actual bill, and then that's an issue. So you guys are planning on reducing that amount of people getting estimated bills in the future?
Yep, so when I worked with Munis, we talked about they have ready forms in the platform, so we're gonna generate a separate notice. So all the data can just be transferred onto that notice, and then we can mail to the residents that your bill's being estimated and to call the department to set up an appointment so we can gain access. Because a lot of the times the issue is gaining access to the property.
And just for my last question to you. So tell me about the project that we have. 7 years ago, we went to the securitization because we were having some lead services still in the city of Lawrence, and you took on that project. So tell me how you'll be able to solve that problem and now give us an actual number in terms of how many people still have that service?
Yeah, so we had about 200 and something on a list, roughly 225 lead services that the city thought that we had, and that was generated off when we did the meter replacement project back in 2012. So what we did was we went door to door for the ones that we had the list for, and we checked them visually, and we were able to eliminate a lot. So we reduced it down to about 116 services that we knew about. And then we just aggressively went at it. You guys, I believe you approved $300,000 for that project in 2019, but that was brought in-house. So we used the money basically just on materials and equipment, fuel, whatever we needed to do the job, and we just did it one by one, 112 of them with the city crew at no charge to the customer.
So if that wouldn't be a charge to the customer, how much each of those would be for the customer?
Normally, they bid them out for about 7,000. That's like a number that I've heard recently, but a lot of them come up with change orders and it ends up being more expensive. And we were able to do them for average about $2,200.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank, Councilor Payano, followed by the Vice President.
Thank you, Council President. No, it was just to speak on Mr. Hill's qualifications. You know, one of the reasons that the committee voted to send him with a favorable recommendation was that I think all of us looked into not just how he's acted as interim director the last few months, but also how he's interacted with members of the community and members of his staff. And I think for, you know, all the sort of questions we had, they had rating reviews. And the other thing to take into account is not just his extensive experience, but the fact that he's bringing with him six different licenses and proficiency in 5 different systems and softwares, which I think is super important that we're having someone who is very educated on the subject. And I just want to say thank you, sir, for applying, and I wish you luck in the years sort of guiding the department and helping our city deals with these issues in the future.
Thank you, Council.
Council Vice President.
Thank you, Councilor President. Mr. Hills, I just want to thank you in public just because before you step in and go ahead for the position, you was able to help me. And I was relying to him in so many occasions. It was a case that I've been dealing with other commissioner for years. Before he stepped in for the job, he was able to fix it with DPW director. And I have to thank you for that, and I hope that you can stay with us for such a more time, and thank you for all the things that you've been doing. I encourage all the councilors to actually get in contact with him, because he's a person that you not only can rely on him, but he also like to follow up with you. And thank you for that. We need many more like you in the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor, for that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Congratulations,
Thank you. Thank you, Councilors.
Council President.
Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to move item 414-22 out of order.
Motion made by the at-large counselor, seconded by another at-large counselor, Councilor Reyes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Council President. Council President, not the Budget and Finance, the Personnel Committee met, and we voted to send item 414-22, the confirmation of Awilda Pimentel as Community Development Director, to the full council as a committee report.
There's a motion,
Second.
and it's seconded by the Vice President. Discussion on the committee report? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Council President, I'd like to make a motion to affirm the confirmation of Awilda Pimentel as the Community Development Director.
Second.
motion to approve Ms. Pimentel as the Community Development Director has been seconded by Vice President. Discussion? Councilor De La Cruz?
I would like, where is Ms. Pimentel?
Council President, I believe Ms. Pimentel is on the Zoom. I can
Yes,
see.
she is.
What I would advise Ms. Pimentel, I can see like the top of her head. There we go.
Okay, Councilor De La Cruz?
Okay. My question is, have you gone through, Ms. Pimentel, have you gone through the interview as to be the rules for everybody who applied for the position?
Ms. Pimentel, I just want to make sure you're not muted. We're not hearing you right now, so just give us a second. I'll try one more time. Ms. Pimentel, try one more time.
Yes, can the counselor repeat that question, please?
The question is, if you had gone through the process of interview, like it should be for that kind of position.
If I've gone through the process of interview and then I couldn't hear the rest.
Yes.
With interviews, yes, I've gone through the process of interviewing.
Do you requested a salary or the position presented you a salary?
The position had a salary posted. There was an outdated one.
And it was changed?
It has not been changed yet, no.
Are you expecting to be changed?
I mean, I don't know. I believe there was a call-in study that was performed, and that's really out of my hands. That's more into the human resources and the administration.
Thank you.
Councilor Infante?
Thank you. Through you, Council President. I have a question for Director LaGreca. Hi, Director. I want to say a few months ago, we received an email from a former employee stating work environment issues, employee retaliation issues coming from this office. And I would like to go through, well, I would like for you to walk us through, what does the HR department do when they receive such concerns? Do you do an investigation? How do you follow up? What has been the process since then to improve that environment to which this individual is currently at?
Unfortunately, I cannot discuss that due to confidentiality issues with personnel matters.
Thank you.
Any other counselors who wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Present.
Opposed, no. Was that present? Roll call, please.
Counselor Infante.
Present.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Ana Levy is noted as absent. Council Vice President Estela Reyes.
Yes.
Council President.
Recuse. Motion carries and passes. Congratulations, Ms. Pimentel. You're welcome. The next.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Council. I would like to make a motion to take item 409-22 out of order, the appointment of Alfonso Garcia.
Motion has been made to take out of order. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Vice President. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Council President. The Personnel Committee met, and we voted to send 409-22, the appointment of Alfonso Garcia as ISD Director, to the Council as a committee report.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice President. Discussion on the committee report. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman?
Uh, President, I'd like to make a motion that we confirm, approve the confirmation of Mr. Alfonso Garcia as the ISD Director.
Second?
Motion's been made, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion?
Discussion.
So,
Discussion, Ms. Infante, followed by Councilor Dela Cruz, but the chair can start first.
thank you, Council President. And Council President, can we get Director LaGreca to come up?
So it'll be the chairman, followed by Councilor Infante, then followed by Councilor Dela Cruz.
Madam Director LaGreca, what I'm going to ask, if you can just give a quick presentation as to, you've done this at one of our committee meetings of sort of what the process was with this. But before we get into that, I know there was, before this, there was a question that was made by one of the counselors without details. If an employee brings to you, issues regarding of work environment, what does the HR department do? Which is, I think, what the counselor was trying to be informed on.
So in a general sense, once a complaint is made to me, I conduct an investigation, and then I make recommendations to the appropriate department head. It depends on what the outcome of the investigation is, but discipline, if it were warranted, would come from the department head based on my recommendation, or the mayor if it were appropriate to come from them.
So if the issue's with a department head, then the response would be at the mayor's office.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Sorry, I thought it was a specific situation, so I can't talk about specific situations, but that is a general process.
Yep, sounds great. I just wanted to make sure that since that question was stated, that it was answered. Yeah, so if you can, back on this case, if you could just kind of run through again sort of the process to hire, that this was posted, what we were looking for, and all that.
Certainly. So there was a request from the mayor's office to post the position. The position was posted in accordance with the ordinances, which you'll see in your packets. There is an opinion from the city attorney that did take place. Once the position is posted, it's open to any and all applicants. Typically, people do apply online. You are required to fill out a City of Lawrence application. You may also submit a resume if you so choose. Once we receive applications, the department head, or in this case the mayor, would request that we certify the applicants. We do that and present that list to either the mayor or the appropriate department head. They may choose to conduct interviews, as long as all candidates are treated the same. That's all we ask, so you may interview all or none. And at that point, the department head and/or the mayor may make a selection. That selection, if it does not come directly from the mayor, is always presented to the mayor, who will have the final approval as the appointing authority. If there is also a requirement that the person be confirmed by city council, we come to this step where I present them to you for confirmation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Through you, Council President. I believe this may be a question for Mr. Garcia rather than Ms. Director LaGreca, but for clarification, the Inspectional Services Department is the department where business owners can go to obtain a business signage permit, correct? Yes. Thank you. I'm asking this question because just last week I had a constituent go to the ISD department inquiring about a signage permit, and this individual was told to go, that they don't do that at that office, and told this individual to go to 12 Methuen Street. That also does not do this type of work. When this was first brought to the Personnel Committee, I still stand by my opinion. What is required through the ordinance and the job posting position to what we have in front of us, it's completely two different things. There's no gray area. It's very black and white for me, and I still stand with what I originally said.
Councilor Dela Cruz?
Thank you, Council President. Mr. LaGreca, my question is, why people are working in a position before council? What about if after that person is in that position, we decide that we don't want that person for that position? Then I don't understand that kind of hiring people.
In the ordinances and the city charter, the mayor or the appointing authority is allowed to make appointments that are either provisional or acting appointments. That is a power of the mayor. When we do go to hire, city council does also have a say, and in this case, certainly where the person is subject to confirmation, this would be the opportunity of city council to either confirm or not confirm if they don't feel the candidate is appropriate.
Yeah, but it's a disgrace to the person that has been in that position 2 or 3 months, and then that we, as city council, decide that we, that we might say yes or not. Then I thought it was the other way around, that people had to apply for the different positions, and then we make a decision, and then that person go to work. But according to what I see, this is working backward. Then it's a lack of respect to the person that is given the job, because if we say no tonight, then that person had to pack up. Then it makes no sense to me to do that kind of hiring without coming to the city councilors first. I heard and I asked questions that is okay, but what about if we say no tonight? Then that person had to leave.
Yes.
Then, also, what is the salary for that position?
It's included in the packet that was submitted. If I could just have a moment to review.
Yes, please.
So at the time this was posted, the Collins Center plan had not gone through yet. It was 70,000 to 80,000. However, I believe that it is now a grade B, which was the same as the position of water commissioner. So if I could just pull that up, I can certainly get that information for you. Grade B is $100,100 to $145,600.
Mr. LaGreca, I'm going to tell you right now, this city is going to go in bankrupt because the way that all of these newcomers coming to different positions and the salary is being triple the salary used to be, or maybe double. I don't know how the taxpayers of this city are going to be able to pay all of those taxes because we have already about 20 different positions at $100,000. It's not your fault. I know you work for the HR. This is what's happening in our city. In less than 2 years, how are we going to pay? Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Garcia. How are you doing, Mr. Garcia?
Doing great. Good evening,
Mr.
Councilor.
Garcia, I'm asking, if you get this position tonight, are you willing to lower your salary to $80,000? Because according to what I see, we won't have money to pay you, to pay your salary.
When I get here, I get for 2 reasons. The first one was, as you may know, and all other councilors. I retired last year from Lawrence Public School from a position in which I was making much, much more money than the amount that I accepted. And I accepted that one because they allow teachers to work. And because of the explosion of the inflation in our country, I was motivated to start working. The second one served to my city. I think the work that I was doing in Lawrence Public Schools in family engagement facilitator for the district, I was helping family. And I saw an opportunity here to continue doing the same thing. And it's what I have been doing for 84 days now, solving problems that other people didn't want it or didn't have the opportunity to solve.
But when it comes to pay the salaries of the people working at the city, it have to come from the taxpayer. Remember, the state give us some money, but the other money have to come from the taxpayer in the city. And even it was not a big increase for the taxpayer, it's gonna be a levy for our city, because it's not just your salary, it's a lot of salaries that are so high that the levy of this city is going down.
Yes, that came, as the personnel director said. There was a study that was here for a couple of years, I think, and was approved by the council. I came here and I adapted. I have what I think is matter of services that we provide to the community, and that was created to compete, because for that salary, for the position with the responsibility that I have right now, you won't find anybody coming from another city to take that job. That's the problem. And then it's happened with every position in the city. We need to have people that give the services to the community in a way that is according to the community we serve.
Okay, but if we cannot afford to pay, why are we hiding? We need those kind of positions to be filled, but at the same time, we won't have the money to pay after a year or two. And I rather would like to see, starting with the lowest salary as possible, and then increasing the salary according to the performance of the person. If you perform so-and-so in a year, that we can increase the salary. But the way I see it now, it's a festival of high salary that is going to bring the city of Lawrence to a levy. It's going to bring the city of Lawrence to use all the money available, and it's not going to be true that we're going to have emergency money for any kind of emergency if we get one.
I understand, Councilor, but this is something that I haven't been involved in. So,
Willing to take a lower salary?
I would say that I would do what the city decide. If the city decide to go with the lower salaries for everybody, I would be great to do it. But what I said is a matter of services. I think the services that we are providing in the city of Lawrence right now have improved in all departments, and I think that the community and the taxpayer will appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Spanner?
Good evening, Council President. I just overheard the conversation. The salary for any position in the city is being negotiated and discussed between the city, between the mayor and human resources. I don't think, according to my knowledge, that this is the platform to be discussing the salary, but it's delegated to the responsibility to HR to be discussing this, if that would be the case.
Mr. Espani, remember that we are the taxpayer, and we had to fight for what is the right for the city. If we continue with this kind of salary, you know that we're going to go to a levy. In 2 years, the taxes we have to be increased. Then we have to tell people the truth from day one. If we say what's going to happen, in 2 years, then I'm happy having anybody getting the right salary that they deserve. But at this moment, we're going down the hill. That's the way I see it.
Anybody else who hasn't spoken yet? Counselor
Mr.
Slinger Reyes.
President, I want to be clear. Is a new position or is an established position?
This is already an established position.
Thank you. I want to be clear on that.
Del Rosario?
Through you, Mr. President, I just also a comment. I mean, this is a position that's been there for the longest, and the study that started a few years ago with the past administration was finished to hurt or to unfortunately said it was finished now in the new administration. I'm just wondering, back in the days, if that study was done back with the last administration, it would have this bunch of questions. Another thing is, I hope that in 2 years, everybody that is getting the money actually do the work that the city can actually get money back and not go into a levy. I mean, saying that the city is going to a levy is not trusting our workers, our employees, or even the administration that we are part of it. We need to make it work regardless of who is in that position and encourage them to actually do the job that they need to do, find people that they need to find, make money for the city. That's how I see it. Reading the future of the city right now, it's kind of, it's like if you're reading the crystal ball. So let's go and finish with a vote if nobody has a comment.
Thank you, Council President. So I wasn't going to talk about these pieces, but since they've been mentioned, my stance is that this chamber is definitely the space to be talking about any issues dealing with finances. However, at the moment, what we're dealing with is the confirmation of an individual to a position. The range in salary has already, we've already voted on that. So before the Congress reports came through and we had those conversations, range was already put into our ordinances. So I don't think that maybe at the moment is the time to speak on the range. I think the range can be discussed at any other point in time. I think now it's the conversation about whether this individual should be appointed or not to the position. That being said, one of the things that we should take into account in my so I've seen a lot of positions that have been interim for a year, 2 years plus. These interim positions are only supposed to be for 90 days. Mayors in the past have used it and have had people serving for a very, very long time, and the council has said zero about that. That is an issue that I know I have advocated against since I've been in the city council chambers, and I think that I'm grateful that the mayor is putting this individual up after that individual's 90 days, because I am sure that the mayor could have just allowed this individual to stay as interim, and there wouldn't have been any voices from or there wouldn't have been a substantive push from the council to push to keep the 90 days. As far as the interviews that we've conducted with Mr. Garcia has talked about his vision for the department. He's talked about his, why he and the members of this administration have talked about his qualifications. So I think at this point, I hope that the vision and goals that they have for the department, they're able to execute on that. So that being said, just because a mayor is not just leaving this individual interim doesn't mean that we automatically have to approve an individual. But I think it does speak a lot to what they're looking for as far as transparency, and that they're looking for a sense of support from the council to make the substantive changes that we all need to happen in ISD. So with that being said, Mr. Garcia, I want to thank you for applying for for this position, and I wish you luck in the coming days into making the substantive changes within the department. One of the pieces where I think we need a whole lot more work is with the Board of Health. I know that you and I have talked about that a lot, and I think that we need to ensure that we are educating our businesses on what the rules are and making sure that as we are ensuring that the rules are being followed, that we're doing it in a just and equitable manner. I know that you have said that those are issues that you care about, so I hope that you're able to follow through on those. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Vice President.
This time, look at me before Councilor Payano, because he left me without saying much about Mr. Garcia. So I was going to say some of what he actually made the summary, but thank you for applying for the position. It is a shame that we have to make through an individual goal, you know, what we have in front of us. I know that we're not here to discuss qualification and what you can bring to the table. The position was vacant, and you're filling a position that I hope that the plan that you had in your mind, you can come forward. Eventually, this is not something that you're going to be able to do it by yourself. And just because you see and you hear people, you know, and this is nothing to be about and talking about anyone in particular, but I think you have to try your best to continue doing what you are doing and provide the service that you are providing, because I did have a great experience to send someone over that you were able to assist in. And I hope that you continue doing that for not only for the construction, for the whole entire city. Thank you, and I wish you good luck.
Councilor Infante.
Thank you. I want to make a comment. This is a space to talk about qualifications. This is a space to talk about individual positions and whom they are recommending, and any administration is recommending, et cetera. At the end of the day, as an individual city councilor, my bosses are my constituents. So when I get a call stating that a constituent of mine, a business owner of mine, could not get help with a business signage permit and was told that they don't do that in this office and was sent to 12 Methuen Street, that's an issue, and this just happened last week. So my hope, whatever the outcome is, my hope is that this gets looked into and that everybody in that office knows what ISD is supposed to be doing and what they are not. Because something small like this, like a $65 business signage permit, everyone should know that that comes out of the ISD department. Thank you.
Any other councilors who wish to speak on this matter? They report to, would that individual be reporting
To, no, directly to the mayor's office. Yeah, to the mayor. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other councilors? If not, if there's no other comments, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
I heard a no. A roll call vote, please.
Councilor Levy, noted as absent. Councilor Dela Cruz.
Present.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Abstain.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Infante.
No.
Council Vice President Reyes.
Yes.
Council President.
Recuse. The motion fails for lack of a fifth. Next document.
Council President, I'd like to take item 214-18, Board of Health Ordinance Amendments out of order, out of tabled matters. Yep. So out of tabled matters or out of order.
I see that. There's a motion to take document 214 out of table, 214-18, Board of Health Ordinance out tabled matters. It's been seconded by someone over, who seconded that? Counselor Selena Reyes, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I would like at some point to get back to the agenda, but we're going to take care of this right now. So you got the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Council President. No, I thought it was important to take it out of tabled matters. We have here Stephen Hill from the Board of Health, who's been waiting patiently, and I've been told that it's his partner's birthday today. So thank you, Mr. Hill, for staying with us throughout this. If you can come up while I'll give a quick sort of rundown of this amendment. Back in 2018, we put forward this amendment which created a few changes. One, increasing the Board of Health from 3 people to 5 people, establishing an annual stipend, ensuring that any adopted measures are sent to the City Council. At the time, we paused on it because there was at least one Board of Health member that wanted to talk more about it. We have done those conversations. So one of the changes that we are going to be doing that I like to do as a sort of friendly amendment, it's my amendment, so to do is instead of an annual stipend of $2,400, for it to be increased to $4,000. And I have Mr. Hill here, and Mr. Hill, if you can just talk about how difficult it has been to get. I'm sorry, just what's going on?
So, because of the news like this, there needed a record from the previous doctors who don't have it.
If it helps, I have the.
I'm not sure we'll have to ask the clerk.
Madam Clerk, does it help if I gave you this? Okay. Where was I? Yeah, Mr. Hill, if you can talk about sort of like the work that you have done in trying to get members, why having a stipend would help, and how you foresee having more members in the board being able to do the work that you do.
Last month, the attorneys of the Mass Board of Health came down and really opened our eyes. Last year, I believe the Board of Health received $144,000 from the state, while a comparable city was Medford, and I believe they received $4.5 million. So we are not doing our job. Our umbrella is extremely small. There are many things that I would like to implement into the city. I would love to create a grading system for the restaurants. I've spoken to Alfonso. I'm very saddened that it didn't pass through, because out of all the inspectors, I've been here as a vice chair of the Board of Health for about 10 years, and I've dealt with many inspectors, and he has great ideas and out-the-box point of view, and his customer service is beyond, and I think that's what we need in the department, and I'm saddened that didn't happen. As a Board of Health meeting, we have a meeting every Tuesday. There's many times that I do not work to make this meeting, and I probably lose about $400 to $500 not going to work. I am a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse since 2004, and I've proudly represented the city of Lawrence since 2009, gas explosions, COVID. Actually, during COVID, I wanted to quit. But how could I dare quit when there's only 2 members? The city would have been paralyzed. They wouldn't have been able to pass any ruling. They wouldn't have been able to pass any laws to protect the 300, or thankfully to reduce the amount of deaths that were in the city. And we have about 300 plus people that died during COVID. And I feel that I have been instrumental in helping the city pass through its health issues, if it be gas explosion, if it be a pandemic that changed all of our lives in this room and everybody in the world. Also, the attorneys of the Department of Health expressed that since I am not an employee of the city, I do not have the same defense For instance, I will be able to, they will be have to be able to go after me civilly because I am not a city employee. I am an appointed person. So not only am I not making money by reducing the amount I work because I make most of my money overtime, but then I make myself susceptible to be have litigation against me to try to help out the city. I believe all of you members do know me, and I think you've seen me out there working. I don't think nobody can deny that I haven't put my heart first and put my interests last. But for me to be protected, I would enjoy a stipend. I would enjoy 3 to 5. I would enjoy 5 members because the umbrella that we are covering, or the umbrella that we serve as the Board of Health, isn't what it should be. We need to get more. Tell you the truth, 144,000 that we received last year, and we probably lost about 400,000 due to not having our stuff together, through the combination grant between Lawrence and Methuen, is our fault. We should be doing our best in regards to organization. This department needs to be heavily reorganized. There needs to be a lot of education to all the inspectors, and I hope that you continue to have me on this board for I can restructure that.
Oh, you have the floor still.
No, Council President, so I think the biggest change to this item is just making the annual stipend to $4,000. And I hope the other councilors can support us in this, in making this change, as I think it'd be something that will be very positive to the Board of Health.
Any other?
One second, Counselor.
Any other councilors wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, there's already a motion on the floor. A motion is to adopt. That was the pre. So the motion is to adopt this. Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none.
Yeah, hold on, I have a question.
Mr. Rodriguez.
So, I have a quick question for you. I haven't been able to, go over this again. I saw it back then, long time ago. But in regard to the Board of Health, I know that you guys deal with a lot of health situation disparities and so far so on. Have you been involved as a Board of Health to deal with any type of grant? Perhaps we're going to deal with one grant today that is about $2 million for 5 years to do a study in regard to the health disparities and all the things in the city of Lawrence.
I have not been involved in the grant, but like I did express earlier, we do need to get our act together because we are leaving a lot of money on the table for that our constituents could benefit from.
That's something that somehow I would like to see the collaboration between the Board of Health and the different departments when it comes to the situation that we're dealing with, the disparities and so far so on. And I know that we have the mayor health task, and it's a co-relationship between the two of you guys. I mean, I don't know how close you guys work, but tonight we both here, and this is a great opportunity to start the discussion, because at the end of the day, both the board and the mayor task board or Taft Health have the same intention, which is helping in terms of the health of the city. That's one thing that I would like to ensure that you guys at least are working together, or at least sharing information as of what is going on around the city. And I also know it was a great opportunity because that interim person and and the inspection services is also the member that deal with this, with a lot of the issues that you guys deal with on a daily basis, on a day-to-day operation. So I know that during COVID, it was a lot of situations that interim inspection service director was dealing with on your behalf in terms of the Board of Health. And my question will be, how effective is the board in terms of, looking at other cities in town that look like the city of Lawrence, a majority community, and see what's the other challenge that the other communities are facing and how you might implement policies that help the city overcome situations in terms of health.
The attorneys from the Mass Department of Health are guiding us in that process. And I open it all to all of you if I can help in any way, if you hear of any other systems. I have been reaching out to other cities. This young lady from the Mayor's Health Task Force, on my day off, I do try to make meetings to get to know my city better, because unfortunately there is a little bit of a disconnect that we do need to create that less of a stopgap between the two departments.
So you're looking to increase the board membership of the Board of Health, or these ordinances looking to do so. How is it right now in terms of working with the 3 members?
We've never had 3 members. I think we had 3 members about 6 years ago, and it's just been me and Goran. I've never left because I know I will cripple the city. But it's been me and Goran for probably the last 4 years.
Do you think that you guys going to get people to actually serve?
Yes.
Once we increase it to 5?
If there is a stipend, I do have a few suggestions to set forward. I have a good friend of mine who's a nurse practitioner who specializes in psych. Mental health is a very big issue here, and I think she'd be a great candidate. I do have several other candidates, but nobody's got to do this job other than me for free. Who's done this? I've done this for free for 10 years.
Yeah, I know, and we appreciate that for sure. I mean, that's something that we definitely appreciate, your dedication, your collaboration to the city of Lawrence, and everything that you have done, and not in your official duties as well, because you've been getting involved throughout.
Thank you.
And that doesn't go unnoticed. That's for sure. So I would like to see that board more active. I'm very active in terms of cycling. And I do a lot of miles every year. So I wanna make sure that board is active, so we can talk about the different disparities in terms of health, using the different mobilities in the city of Lawrence and trying to increase mobility on that end and seeing the benefit. So to me, it is very personal to ensure that we are including different type of exercise and different type of things to improve the disparities that exist in the city of Lawrence in terms of health. So I wish that at some point we can have a full capacity on that board, and trust me, it will be a lot of help.
I think the stipend will help. When I did speak to this about Dr. Goran, he did laugh. He said 5 members. I'd like to see that because we've had 2 for about 4 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Just so our record is reviewing the record, could we just have another motion on this matter?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this item.
Second?
Motion by the Councilor at Large Payano, seconded by the Vice President. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none. Oh, Councilor Infante.
I'll make it quick. I just want to say thank you for your service, and thank you for wanting to continue to do this. That's all.
Thank you for the opportunity to help me represent my city.
Since there's no further discussion on this matter, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
Stop. Are we going back to the top? Yes. Okay.
Want me to move things around a little bit? Take,
Council,
Budget and Finance Committee is the next, document 283B22. Chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, would you wish to give a committee report, please?
Yes, Council President, I would. Our assistant clerk gave me a look, so I'm not going to take things out of order. We'll move on to item 283B-22, authority to expend grant funds, mass and motions to Mayor's Health Task Force, an additional award amount of $29,053, put on by Ms. Alicia Miller. The Budget and Finance Committee voted to send this to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion made and seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 41722, Mr. Chairman.
Council President, the item 417-22, authorization to expend grant funds, municipal staffing grant, EOPSS, $1,000,005,200. The Budget and Finance Committee voted to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation, and I send that in, present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 41822, Mr. Chairman.
Budget and Finance Committee met, and we voted to send item 418-22, appropriation transfer from free cash of $300,000 to renovate the Donovan Park with, wow, I just lost it. We voted to send this for a favorable recommendation, and I present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chair.
Budget and Finance Committee met, and we voted to send item 419-22, appropriation transfer from free cash of $100,000 of the for a home ARP consultant, and we send that to the full council with a favorable recommendation and present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document number 42022, Mr. Chairman.
Item 420-22, the Budget and Finance Committee sent to the full council with a favorable recommendation of authorization to expend grant funds, EOEEA grant of $400,000 for the Donovan Park, and I present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. See, Councilor Infante.
sorry, I've been a little in the air. First, I want to say thank you for the previous vote. Thank you, councilors. And second, again, I would appreciate a positive vote on this. The constituents of that area of District E have, and I said this before, but they have fought for over 11 years to get this small but very useful park renovated. So I'm glad to see us having discussions about it. Thank you.
Council President?
Thank you, Councilor Payano.
If I would like to add, I want to give my thanks to Representative Frank Moran, who I know was essential in us obtaining this grant. So just want to thank the former council president on his advocacy for this.
Very good. Any other discussion on this matter? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, document 42122.
Thank you, Council President. The Budget and Finance Committee sent with a favorable recommendation, item 421-22, authorization to expend grant funds for the MA Community Health and Healthy Aging Grant, which is $75,000 per year for 5 years, for a total of $375,000, and I present that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by the Vice President. Discussion?
Yes, what I said, $75,000 per year for 5 years.
For 5 years.
I said that.
All right.
I said that.
Good evening, councilors.
Apparently, did you want Ms. Miller to speak? She's here. You have the floor, ma'am.
Just clarify the amount.
So it's 75,000 per year over 5 years. It's a total of $375,000.
Oh, and then at the subcommittee level, I get it wrong, and Councilor Payano get it right today.
Oh, nice.
I don't remember that. I think I got it right on both times, but,
So I thought that it was 375 per year
No,
for a total.
That's the
of-
total for the 5 years. It's 75 per year.
So I went over the information you sent. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending that information. I highly appreciate that information. You mentioned that it was going to be 2 doctors out of UMass, that they're going to come over and do the study, right?
So they would be doing the evaluation pieces of the work.
Okay. So, okay. All right, the fact that it is 75,000, I thought it was a greater amount. So that lead me to reduce the amount of questions I have. For the RFP that you sent,
You're welcome.
in the presentation as well. On the RFP that you sent, on the presentation, I know you mentioned that it was very related to the city of Lawrence on the presentation. Is the RFP was a generic RFP from the organization, or that was something that you guys use here in the city to be able to do the study?
It was released by the Department of Public Health through the Health Resources and Action Group.
It was a
So it was a
generic
generic one, yes.
for everybody?
Yes.
All right. So here you mentioned on the I believe on the presentation or the other document, you mentioned that it is active until 2022. You mean that it's going to start on 2022 or 2023?
The starting date was the starting date on the grant was October 1.
Okay, let me take a look at something. Let me take a look at something very quick, and that way you can refer my question.
Yeah.
I'll just send you an email with that information because I'm not able to find it. But I mean, it's well spelled in 3 sheets that you sent as of how the money is going to be used for the first quarter, the first year, and so far, so on until the end.
Okay.
And that's something that it is very well done in terms of getting things appropriately per quarter and how you guys going to use the money. So thank you so much. By the way, the doctors are from UMass.
Yes,
right?
They're from UMass Lowell.
Thank you so
They
much.
are part of our research initiative working group. Dr. Robin Toof has been with us before my time. She's been working in the city of Lawrence with us. Dr. Noel came on shortly thereafter. I joined the Mayor's Health Task Force, but they've been working with us for years. Dr. Toof worked on the OSHA grant that we had a couple years ago when I joined the task force, early 2000s. And Dr. Noel worked with us on the age-friendly grants. So they have history here.
Very professional doctors from UMass Lowell. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so this is on the motion to adopt. Any further questions or comments on this matter? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I see that Councilor Selena Reyes is looking for the floor. Council, are you looking to apply Rule 20 from item number 283B22, a motion to reconsider?
Yes.
There is a motion to reconsider document 283B22. Is there a second? Motion made and is properly second for motion to reconsider. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I am now going, I am now going to, I'm going to look for a motion to adopt this item, or any motion, frankly.
So move. I motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt 283B22. There is a second by Councilor Infante. And just for the record, Councilor Selena Reyes has left the chambers. She's recusing herself from this vote. If there's no discussion on this, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We already voted to We'll do a roll call vote, so it's nice and clean. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
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 Recused. 6, and it passes. Thank you very much, councilors. Going back in order now.
Thank you, Council President. Council President, so I just want to apologize. I sometimes think, from the hustle and bustle that you and I usually do, or me and Giovanni and our fellow council here, I sometimes think I'm a lot. I'm sorry, Councilor Reyes here. I sometimes think I'm a comedian when I'm not. Just to the clerks before, I was just joking, just in case if you guys thought I was being real, I was being fresh, yeah. So apologies on that. You guys are amazing, and I just want to make sure that there's no confusion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and apologies to the Madam Clerk. Item 416-22, confirmation of Rosa M. Shepherd, Director of Support Services. The Personnel Committee voted to send this to the full council to withdraw. I've spoken to the Director La Greca, and she also is requesting that we withdraw item 416-22. This will not preclude Ms. Shepherd from applying to this position. It's just that this position does not require confirmation from the council.
Second.
Motion to withdraw has been made, it's been properly second. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Housing Committee, Mr. Chairman Rodriguez. Document number 32322.
Yes, the Housing Committee met and discussed item 323. Give me a second so I can take a look at it.
While we're waiting, are you ready?
So the Housing Committee met and discussed item 323, 22, which is the reversal of a vote for disposition of the real estate property yard sale of 810 Archer Street. So councilors, we voted in favor of sending this item to the full council with a favorable recommendation, and this is what we're doing today. The previous person that we did the disposition for this yard sale of 810 Archer Street sold the property but never did the closing on this specific location. So we need to rescind the vote of 810 Orchard Street to Oscar Interino. And with that, the city can move forward to sell this property to the actual owners of 810 Orchard Street, the current, most recent owners. So this is what we're doing to that. With that said, councilors, I would like to make that as a form of a motion to rescind the vote that we took before on 810 Orchard Street.
Second.
All right, so there's a motion to rescind the vote, the previous vote, which was done, do you have an idea when that was done, Counselor?
Back in 2016.
Motion to that's right, right now. Motion to reconsider 2016 vote has been made. It's been seconded, I believe, by Counselor Infante. Any discussion on this matter? Sorry, my apologies. Counselor Selena Reyes has seconded the motion. Any discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman.
The Housing Committee met and discussed item 122, 22, which is the declaration of surplus of property located on 1517 Saunders Street. We voted in favor of sending this item for the declaration of surplus, and I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Second.
It's a motion, this is document 42222, document properly made and seconded by the Vice President. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, 42322.
Yes, the Housing Committee met and discussed item 32322, which is the disposition of real estate property of 7 Walnut Street to the current abutter, which are Mr. Camilo and Ms. Camilo, Kelly Camilo, and Moises Camilo. They're here today. The current price for this sale is $33,900. This is a direct disposition. This is not at a yard sale for this occasion. Just want to make sure that we point that out. So I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Motion to approve has been made and seconded.
The direct disposition will be the direct disposition for real estate property of 7 Walnut Street to Moises Camilo and Kelly Camilo for the sale price of $33,900. So that's the one. Yeah, the map lot is 170, lot 114, and the square footage of this property is 3,847 square feet.
Motion's been made and it's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Document 42422, Mr. Chairman.
And also, this is a vote to amend conditions of 9 Walnut Street. The Housing Committee voted favorably to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation. I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Second.
Sure. Give me 1 second. So it's 9 Walnut Street. So we amending the conditions that he previously have on this property. It was sold before as a yard sale. He gonna merge 7 and 9 Walnut Street to be able to build. That was the reason as of why he bought the previous property for the assessment value of the property, to make it as one lot partially and make it buildable, so he can build a new property on there.
Moises Camilo.
Yes, the same person. So the main conditions will be to Moises Camilo and his wife as well, Kelly Camilo. This is to amend conditions. I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Motion's been made, I believe it's been seconded properly by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion.
Discussion.
Councilor Payano.
I just want to make sure, that's the property where there's like, it's essentially like 2 vacant lots?
One
the
of
corner.
them, it's a vacant lot. The other one is owned by 11 Walnut Street, which is owned by Mr. Camilo as well.
Okay, and that's on Walnut and Irving?
One,
Can I hear more of what, so am I gonna assume, I'm gonna see, is it a 2-family that they're gonna build there? A 3-family? Is there parking?
So essentially, they're gonna merge 11 and 9 Walnut Street, build the duplex, and continue having 7 and 9.
7 and 9.
7 and 9, and continue having the proper spaces on 9 Walnut Street to be able to provide parking to 11 Walnut as well as the new property, which is gonna be 9 and 7.
They're gonna build a duplex, 1 family each?
It's a duplex with 2 townhouses.
Correct.
Great. Is it possible that we can just, I know that the owner just said yes, that we can just get him to confirm?
And if
Hi, my name is Moises Camilo, and I own 11 Walnut Street since 2009. I purchased 9 Walnut Street 2016, and now I'm trying to acquire 7 Walnut, which from 9 Walnut I'll be using 30.5 feet only to merge it to make 5,000 square footage to make a buildable lot. I have the plans here for a 2-family right now, which will become my primary residence. I'm now renting since all my tenants, I have 2 properties in Lawrence right now. All my tenants are long-term tenants for more than 10 years because my rent is way under market value. Covering right now is $1,100. So I like to buy these properties. And talking about the parking spaces for 11 Walnut, currently we have like about 8+ parking spaces. Taking the 30.5 feet will not even interfere with our parking space for the current tenant that I have right now. It will be at least 6 parking spaces. And then the duplex will have garage under and another parking underneath. So everybody will have enough parking space.
Great. My final question, you mentioned this is gonna be a 2-family, so it's not like condo, like one,
I have the plans if you want to take a look here.
Okay, no, perfect. So it's gonna be, so within the deed, you're merging it, so it's gonna be 7 and 9 together?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. No further questions, and good luck, sir, and thank you for being one of the very few landlords that keeps their rent below market.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The last document for the housing is document 42522, Mr. Chairman.
$425.22 is the declaration of surplus for property located at 8892 Oxford Street. We discussed the item, voted in favor of it to send it to the full council with a full recommendation, and I'm happy that this is happening.
Is that part of your motion, the happiness? Okay. A motion has been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any other, hopefully there's no other table matters this evening. If not, we're going to move right over to new business. New business, document 42722, a payment of prior year bills, $31,739.64 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 42822, authorization to expend grant funds recycling dividends program, RDP grant of $56,000 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 42922, transfer from free cash $5 million to DPW for equipment and infrastructure improvement for 2024. That is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. 43022, taxi cab medallion transfer from Emmanuel E. Arias, Liberty Taxi Incorporated, to Delio Diaz Pena with Popular Taxi is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 43222, request to post and fill budget analyst position. That is going to the ordinance committee. Document 43322, handicap parking, 61 Wesley Street. It's going to the ordinance committee. Document 43224, proposed ordinance regarding the recreation of motorized vehicles, registered and unregistered, put on by Councilor Anna Levy. That is going to the ordinance committee. And 43522, National Grid, Essex Street, install 1 JO pole at 1471-50 at service at 700 Essex Street, and that is going to the ordinance committee. Hey, listen, we got Christmas coming up. I don't mean to shock anybody with the news, because I'm sure you all got your... But apparently someone's already pre-planned the next ordinance committee. When is the ordinance committee, Madam Chair?
2023.
We can only hope that the other committee chairs can
7.
measure up with that kind of preparation. I'm looking to you, Mr. Chairman of the Budget and Finance, which has got everything pretty much.
6 a.m., Christmas Eve. No? January 11th, 2023, 7 p.m. That works better for people? No, right after New Year's? No, okay.
I don't, well, what, personnel, I think you're dry, right?
No items.
No items.
Finally.
Housing Committee, we're striking. I know you want to have public safety next week. No, you're not doing that? And any committee of the whole meeting's coming up next week? Just checking.
Motion to adjourn.
Before we recognize the motion, I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Thank you so much for your year's work. Look forward to reconvening next year. I know we got a lot of stuff to do next year, and I thank each and every one of you for all of your work this year, and I look forward to working with you.
More honey.
And there's more honey coming. So I did hear a motion to adjourn, I think from Councilor
moved.
Rodriguez. It's been seconded by Councilor Piano. Any discussion before we leave? Everybody must see me before you leave. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No, the ayes have it.